Wall Street suffered its steepest one-day decline since the first year of the pandemic. That's where we're starting the 7 from the Washington Post. I'm Hannah Jewell. It's Friday, April 4th. Let's get you caught up with today's 7 stories. On Wednesday, President Donald Trump announced sweeping new tariffs. Starting tomorrow, all imports will face a 10% tariff. And starting next Wednesday, certain countries will see additional levies of up to 50%. The stock market has reacted to all of this quite dramatically. Financial markets yesterday took their biggest plunge since 2020. The new tariffs are expected to cost U.S. consumers and businesses hundreds of billions of dollars this year. Yesterday, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer railed against the tariffs.
Yesterday, the president made one of the dumbest decisions in history, one that will negatively impact every single American family, every single one. He's walking us into the dumbest and most avoidable recession probably in history. And let's call the Trump tariff tax for what they really are, a huge tax hike on American families.
So what does this all mean for you? The short answer is higher prices. Clothing, cars, and coffee could be the first to see price hikes. And if you like to buy cheap clothes from overseas, they may not be so cheap anymore. For a longer list of impacts and some advice from our financial columnist about what to do and not do with your 401k, check out our newsletter today. Find a link to that in our show notes. A top U.S. national security official was fired after a far-right activist urged his removal. That's number 2. Until yesterday, General Timothy Hawk was the director of the National Security Agency. That's the federal government's powerful wiretapping and cyber espionage service. But yesterday, he was abruptly fired, along with his civilian deputy at the NSA. At least 5 key aides on the National Security Council staff were also terminated. The oustings came a day after the far-right activist Laura Loomer visited the Oval Office. During the meeting, she urged President Trump to remove certain people who she deemed disloyal to him. Loomer is a highly controversial influencer who has the president's ear. She frequently makes inflammatory anti-Islam and anti-immigrant comments and pushes baseless conspiracy theories. Some Republicans have been unnerved by Loomer's access to Trump. They had previously raised alarms when she was traveling with Trump during the presidential campaign. Number 3. At least 7 people were killed in ongoing storms in central states. A destructive storm tore through the Mid-South yesterday. High winds, heavy rainfall, and flooding hit multiple states. More than 30 tornadoes were reported by yesterday evening. And some places had hail the size of baseballs. In Nashville, the tornado sirens wailed for so long that they stopped working. 5 people died in Tennessee, 1 in Missouri, and 1 in Indiana. The severe weather has stretched for days, and the danger is far from over. This destructive weather event will persist until Sunday, with more tornadoes likely today. A South Korean court removed the country's president from office. That's number 4. Last December, President Yoon Suk-yeol declared martial law in South Korea. But within 6 hours, lawmakers voted to overturn it, and the president relented. Less than 2 weeks later, the National Assembly voted to impeach Yoon. And today, the country's constitutional court upheld that impeachment. Post reporters were on the scene in Seoul as the ruling to remove Yoon was announced. South Korea has had a turbulent history with its presidents. Since the country's founding after World War II, nearly all of its presidents have had serious allegations made against them or their family members. Some have faced impeachment, prosecution, prison, or even assassination. Yoon still faces a criminal trial. South Koreans will elect a new president within 60 days. Number 5. A stunning number of electric vehicle and battery factory projects are being canceled. In recent years, electric vehicle manufacturing facilities producing lithium batteries, car parts, and critical minerals sprang up all over the country. They drew on cash and tax credits from the Inflation Reduction Act. That was President Joe Biden's signature piece of climate legislation. The factories promised to provide jobs, largely in Republican voting areas of the country, and they were meant to set the nation on a path to making more homegrown EVs. But then Trump returned to the White House. His administration started slashing the cash and tax credits these clean energy programs needed, and that is already having a pretty big impact. New data shows that more clean energy projects were canceled in the first quarter of 2025 than in the previous 2 years combined. That leaves thousands of jobs and the shift to clean energy in doubt. Bruce Springsteen is unlocking a treasure trove of his music. That's number 6. Yesterday, the boss posted an update on his Instagram page that sent his fans into a frenzy. Springsteen plans to release 7 lost albums that he worked on from 1983 to 2018, but never released. The trove will include 83 tracks. 74 of them have never been heard before. He dropped one previously unheard track yesterday. Here's a snippet. That was Rain in the River from Perfect World, one of the 7 lost albums. You can find it wherever you stream music, but you'll have to wait until June 27th to hear the entire package. And at number 7, a roughly 97-year-old endangered tortoise just became a first-time mom. Mommy is a rare Western Santa Cruz Galapagos tortoise at Philadelphia Zoo. Mommy is her given name and not just her new job title. In February, she and another tortoise named Abrazo welcomed 4 hatchlings. That made her the oldest known first-time mother of her species. Abrazo is around 96. It apparently took him a few years after meeting Mommy to figure out what to do to bring new life into this world. Their triumph is a major boon for the future of their critically endangered species. Mommy is a member of a program dedicated to protecting endangered species and their genetic diversity. The babies will make their debut at the zoo later this month. So congratulations to the happy parents. Don't believe them when they tell you to enjoy every minute. That's the show for this week. A small correction from yesterday's show before we go. Anthony Albanese is Australia's Prime Minister, not its president. Thanks to listener Agata for catching that. The associate producer of The 7 is Taylor White. Special thanks this week to the multi-talented Rennie Svirnovsky. The staff writers are Jamie Ross and me. John Taylor is our editor. Additional editing by Christina Quinn. Copy editing is by Melissa No and Thomas Haliba. Mixing and sound design is by Jim Briggs and Justin Garish. Our theme music is by Edith Mudge. Renita Jablonski is our director of audio. I'm Hannah Jewell. Thanks for listening and have a great weekend. I'll meet you back here on Monday.
My name is Tom Sietsema, and I am the food critic for The Washington Post. I think a lot of great restaurant meals are like great books, films, or concerts. You don't necessarily need them to live, but don't they make life more worth living? I see myself as sort of a reader advocate going in there, spending the Post's money, coming back and giving you the green light, yield sign, or a stop sign. I like to be seen as sort of the best friend who happens to eat out a lot more than they do. I eat in about 10 restaurants a week. And I like creating memories for people and helping them create memories, whether those are first date, a 50th anniversary, grandma's 90th birthday, if you have special needs, whether they're dietary or otherwise. When you subscribe to The Washington Post, you support this kind of journalism. Learn more at subscribe.washingtonpost.com. I'm Tom Sietsema, and I'm one of the people behind the Post.